In the grand historical tapestry, there is an ancient record that cannot be overlooked: the biblical origins of African nations. These stories recount the formation of great kingdoms and peoples, from powerful kings to talented queens, all stemming from a royal civilization that ruled over the pristine and mysterious lands of Africa. As the sunlight gradually fades over the vast savannas, the image of powerful kings and queens with ebony skin emerges in a scene both mystical and majestic. These stories not only open the door to the past, but also reflect the grandeur and far-reaching influence of these peoples. Explore the origins of African nations with Daily Bible Sacred. Follow the channel to not miss out on fascinating and exploratory videos about history, religion, and the Bible. The Bible, an ancient and sacred book, holds secrets from bygone eras within its pages. It records the remnants of a forgotten world, forever etched in the sands of Africa. According to the Bible, all present-day peoples trace their origins to the three sons of Noah: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. These stories not only refer to modern peoples but also include Black people and the Mawu people. According to tradition, their origins can be traced back to Ham, one of Noah's three sons. Shem and Japheth are Ham's brothers, representing Semitic peoples such as Arabs, Jews, and Syrians, while Japheth represents Aryan peoples, Europeans, and Asians. The Bible particularly emphasizes Ham's role as the ancestor of Africans and Black people. His name is closely associated with Africa, and in the Psalms, he is specifically linked with ancient Egyptians. This not only shows Ham as the ancestor of those with dark skin, but also highlights his widespread influence in the ancient cultures of Africa. According to Jewish traditions and many other historical traditions, Africa's origins are always attributed to Ham. These traditions often refer to African regions when mentioning Ham's descendants, further affirming his significant role in the history and culture of the continent. Ham is not only an important figure in religious stories, but also an integral part of the formation and development of ancient cultures on the African continent. Records and legends about him help us better understand the historical and cultural connections between peoples, highlighting the diversity and richness of African culture through the lens of the Bible. Besides the factors mentioned, the name Ham also carries a special meaning in ancient languages such as Hebrew and Aramaic, where it translates to Ben-He, meaning burning and dark. This may hint at his hair and skin color, an interesting detail that underscores the connection between the name and the appearance of this historical figure. In Genesis chapter 10 verses 6 to 14, we can explore the story of Ham's family, often referred to as Hamites. According to the Bible, Ham had three sons: Cush, Mizraim, and Canaan. Each of them had a profound influence on ancient cultures. First is Cush, Ham's eldest son, who is also considered the ancestor of many African nations. His name is linked with the groups of Ethiopia and Nubia, areas once known as the Kingdom of Cush. This highlights the deep connection between Cush and African cultures. Next is Mizraim, the second son, who became the ancestor of ancient Egyptians. The name Mizraim in Arabic and Hebrew is often used to refer to Egypt, and it is one of the most prominent areas in ancient history. This name was given by a founder named Phut, a name that has become an important part of Egypt's history and culture. Finally, Canaan, Ham's third son. The name Canaan not only refers to a region, but also represents a group of people from the land of Canaan, which the Bible places in what are now Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, and Syria. The inhabitants here also play a significant role in historical and religious narratives. Returning to Ham's eldest son, Cush, we cannot overlook his significant role in the formation of many important nations and peoples in the region. Cush is not only the ancestor of prominent groups like the Ethiopians and Nubians, but also a central figure in the history and culture of these lands. An interesting story is that the Samaritans are believed to be descendants of Nero, a disobedient son of Cush from ancient Babylon. This highlights the extensive connection of Cush with ancient civilizations. Additionally, Cush is considered the ancestor of many other peoples from various regions. People from India, along with many peoples from other parts of Africa such as the Mali, Eritrea, Kenya, and groups like the Koans and Vandas from Bon, are all thought to trace their origins back to Cush. This demonstrates the broad influence and connection between Cush and diverse cultures in Africa and surrounding areas. In another biblical context, Cush is often closely linked with regions like Ethiopia, Sudan, and Africa in general, meaning not just Ethiopia, but also Black and ancient language. This reflects the importance of Cush in the historical and cultural picture of African peoples. The other two sons of Ham, Mizraim and Canaan, also play crucial roles. Mizraim is considered the ancestor of ancient Egyptians and many North African groups, including the and the Pur. In Psalm chapter 78 verse 51, we read about the Lord having struck down the firstborn of Egypt, destroying the firstborn of the tents of Ham. Moreover, Ham had a son named Phut, born after Mizraim. The name Phut originates from a word meaning landmark in ancient languages and is related to hunting tribes in Africa. Traditionally, Phut is considered the ancestor of the Libyans, Black people, and some other African peoples. When discussing the curse of Ham or the curse of Canaan, we often encounter many misunderstandings. In Genesis 9, it is recounted that when Noah was drunk, his son Ham not only did not help him, but mocked his father's nakedness and drunkenness before his other brothers. However, the interpretation of this story can vary, and it is not the central focus of the narrative. As a result, Noah placed a curse on one of Ham's sons, Canaan. Although Noah's action may seem severe, disrespecting parents at that time was a very serious issue, almost like a religious duty. Even though Noah seemed drunk due to discovering wine from grapes, something he had not known before, and this happened accidentally, God did not punish him for it. What is important is that Ham and his three remaining sons, Cush, Mizraim, and Phut, are all considered ancestors of African peoples and Black people. The Bible, through genealogical branches on the family tree, connects these individuals with ancient peoples of Africa, including Egyptians, Ethiopians, and many other African nations. However, to fully understand the origins and history of these peoples, we need to approach these stories with an understanding of the historical and cultural context they represent. As we continue to explore and expand our knowledge of the past, engaging in ongoing research and dialogue is crucial for gaining a deeper understanding of migration origins and cultural development among Black and African peoples. This helps us not only to better understand history, but also to avoid misunderstandings and misinterpretations that may cause harm in the future. A typical example of misinterpretation is the notion that Africans are a cursed people. This is a serious misunderstanding. According to the Bible, it is not all Africans who are cursed, but only Canaan, Ham's third son. Ham, Noah's son, is considered the ancestor of many peoples in Africa and South Asia. He was born before the Great Flood and lived a significantly long life compared to most people. Ham witnessed many generations of his family and ancestors, possibly even up to the 5th or 6th generations. Interestingly, like his brother Shem, Ham also lived to about 600 years or even longer. Although the Bible does not specify Ham's exact lifespan, many believe he lived at least 600 years. The location of Ham's tomb remains a mystery, with various hypotheses and studies about its location. Some suggest that his tomb might be in Ethiopia or Nubia, regions believed by researchers to be related to him. Others suggest that it might be in Mesopotamia, where the ancient Sumerians lived. However, the popular belief is that his tomb is in Africa, particularly in Sudan or Ethiopia. Some opinions even suggest that he might be buried in Egypt, a land famous for its ancient secrets and discoveries of old tombs. Over the centuries, the search and exploration will continue to shed light on these mysteries, enriching our understanding of the history and heritage of ancient civilizations. We need to wait for more time to uncover these mysteries. Next, we have the Book of Jubilees, an ancient Jewish document which will provide additional details about Ham's later years and events related to Noah's family, as well as the lineages of Ham, Shem, and Japheth. This is an important document considered authoritative in the pre-Christian and early Christian eras, and it sheds light on many interesting aspects of these figures. According to the Book of Jubilees, Ham was displeased when his youngest son decided to settle in Shem's land, now known as Israel. In Ham's and the other sons' eyes, this land belonged to Shem, and they felt that Canaan had no right to occupy it. The Book of Jubilees also tells us that Ham, along with other sons such as Cush, Mizraim, and others, did not support Canaan's decision to settle in Shem's territory. They believed that the lands in Africa were meant for Ham's descendants. Despite facing opposition from his father and brothers, Canaan remained determined to stay in this land. This led to a clear division between the lands of Noah's sons and highlighted tensions and conflicts within the family. The Book of Jubilees also shows us that after the Great Flood, Ham was the first to establish a new city and land. In this story, Ham not only restored life after a terrible disaster, but also left a lasting impact through the establishment of new cities and nations in the regions where he lived. Ham named the place Monal to honor his beloved wife. This further shows Ham's deep appreciation and love for her. When approaching ancient texts such as the Book of Jubilees, we need to consider them with careful attention to the cultural and historical context of that era. These stories and records are not merely historical accounts, but also reflect the views and beliefs of the ancient period. Therefore, accurately understanding these texts is crucial to avoid creating misunderstandings that might perpetuate incorrect beliefs or unfair connections of curses with black groups. The Bible has provided us with a complex and multifaceted story about historical figures and events of that period. This makes interpreting and understanding these stories very important. Thus, we need to avoid erroneous interpretations that may lead to unfair prejudices or misconceptions about ancient peoples. To do this, we need to approach ancient documents with an expansive and accurate perspective to better understand the cultural and historical heritage of humanity. In this video, we only address the biblical and ancient texts on the origins of black people, aiming to clarify the origins and misunderstandings about this population and hope to satisfy your curiosity about human knowledge.